This is one presentation which was prepared for presenting at Kanpur Ophthalmic Society meeting, which held on 15th of December 2024. And this is about how to select your dream phaco machine and how to be a smart buyer so that you don't regret and you get what you want out of your machine. And these are the acknowledgements. The Kanpur Ophthalmic Society, Dr. Mohit Khatri, who is my student, and he has been very active in Kanpur and has been very instrumental in connecting me to the Kanpur Ophthalmic Society. And also my gratitude to the Kanpur ophthalmologists who are there to bear me and listen to me and call me again and again for presentations. This is a disclaimer that there is no financial interest in the products mentioned, and the stay and the hospitality and the affection was provided by the Kanpur Ophthalmic Society. So, this is one mobile phone which I had recently purchased, and I'm sure that most of you must not have seen this brand or be aware of this. Now, why did I select this? Because I have few things in my mind when I purchase any gadget, and these are the features which I'm looking for in that gadget. And so there is a website, this 91mobiles.com, which has a feature that you can select a feature of that particular mobile and it will shortlist those mobiles which have that feature. And this way I can select what I want rather than what the crowd is going after. And if you have good understanding of the mechanism of your device, then you are sure to get what you want from the market. So this presentation is all about breaking down the features of a particular phaco machine so that you are sure that what you want is what you have in that particular model. Although there is no such website for phaco machines or ophthalmic instruments, but I'm sure that once you have broken down your requirements and the features, you can always find out what is suitable for you in the market at the most competent price. So why should we bother about getting a good phaco machine or so much concerning about the phaco machine? Now, phaco machine is the backbone of any ophthalmology setup. This is something we all have learned and are aware because cataract surgery is the most commonly performed surgery and it brings the maximum amount of revenue turnover for any given setup. And phacoemulsification is a choice of surgery for cataract. So one has to have a good machine with desirable features. And then I have broken down the features required in these topics. Suitable, dependable, affordable, cost effective, value for your money, they all seem synonymous and they should matter. And this affordability or cost effectiveness is about purchase, running, and maintenance also. Performance, serviceable, and should we stick to a brand? And let us proceed and see each feature one by one. So what I mean when I say that this should be a suitable phaco machine, one should be aware about the features which you get in a phaco machine which are available as options in various other models. So it can be a modular versus non-modular. Modular means that it has added features which you can upgrade later on without selling or reselling the machine, and you can simply add one more module. And there are machines which are having this capability, and the worth mentioning is Opticon company, which provides you a module which you can upgrade to posterior segment. Added feature for the posterior segment surgeries, and that includes good vitrectomy, fluid air exchange, and silicone oil or viscous fluid injection, and it may have laser also. And these may not be requirement for an anterior segment surgeon, but it's a good effort to have a machine if you can afford it which has added features. And this will definitely give you an opportunity if you want to learn a new set of skills. Then there are foot switches which are dual linear versus single linear foot switch. And one of the audience at the conference was very concerned with this particular feature and realized that when you have to do vitrectomy, especially when you have retained cortex along with PCR and vitreous prolapse, this feature may be a very useful feature, and indeed it is, because at moments you are cutting vitreous and at moments you want to aspirate the cortex and not cut it. So a dual linear foot switch will provide you that flexibility. Programmable foot switch means that you don't have to relearn your reflexes, and you can program the foot switch so that whatever way you are used to, you can have that feature or setting in your foot switch. There should be a touch screen which should be preferably resistive, because in any case all the people who are in the OT, few of them may have to touch the screen using some device or a stylus, where the capacitive screens need a very particular kind of stylus. Then you can have a variety of pump which is usually peristaltic versus venturi pump, and few machines may have both. And this matters only for getting used to, otherwise ultimately they don't make a difference. Although any person who is doing posterior segment surgeries would need a venturi pump. And then you have added features like ultrasound power modulations, which make the phaco energy usage much more optimum and effective. And then there is something like dependability. They should have least failures and should have fast repairs, and the company should be able to provide you with a backup machine during the downtime, so that doesn't affect your business. Affordable or cost effectiveness or value for your money, you should look for a machine which is lower in price, and usually Indian brands provide you with this feature. They also can have a facility of part payment, so that you don't have to add any interest, and should be an interest free part payment, which makes it very affordable. And any amount of advance payment or booking fees should not be a feature. When I say advance payment, I mean that few companies are there which will ask you for a full down payment or full cost of the machine to be paid beforehand they ship the machine. On the other hand, it may be a situation that company may offer you a fraction of the price to be paid at the time of installation, and rest can be broken up into a monthly payment. And if it is so, you will have facility to afford the machine even if you don't have that asset right at the moment of purchase. Running and maintenance costs. Now there are options of reusable accessories and disposable accessories, and they have both some advantages and disadvantages. Reusable accessories are cost effective because they can be reused by sterilizing them, and disposable will be costly because if you even if you can run them for a day, the next day you will need some more consumable, and more so if you have a power break, then at moments these machines are programmed to reject the existing accessory. So you may have to attach one disposable cassette or tubing when you have a power breakdown or the day ends. The reusable accessories will always have some life, so there will be a gradual attrition in performance. On other hand, the disposable accessories are like they are fresh and new every day, so you will have a behavior or the performance of the machine would be just like a new machine. And for reusable accessories, you will always need a robust and dependable in-house sterilization, which you always have, because we are not only sterilizing the machine parts, we are also sterilizing the linen and the rest of the instruments. And adequate stock would be needed if you are having disposable accessories, and this will be a added investment for the work. Apart from the purchase process, running and maintenance cost may also cost you something. So there are options like annual maintenance charges, which are up to 10% of the purchase price, and which is a hefty price to pay yearly. Or you may have a setup of pay per visit charges, or there are companies which provide you free servicing. That means they don't charge you anything for the service, the components are chargeable. And the worth mentioning here is that Appasamy Associates have always had this kind of service yet, and they don't charge you anything for the service except for the part replacements. The consumables may be third party compatible or they may be proprietary. And just to give you an idea, I would mention here that Medlab's cutter 23 gauge, which is a generic company which is making cutter for various machines, will cost you something like 3 4,500 or 5,000, and proprietary cutter for Opticon will cost you something like 13,000. So there's a huge difference the moment you switch to proprietary machines, which may not sound very fair, but this is it is. So one has to keep in mind when you are buying your machine. Coming to the performance, so I'll just demonstrate one case which was done for removing a hard cataract. And this is the kind of cataract we are talking about. And the machine which I was using was Appasamy Associates Galaxy Robot. And this is the kind of cataract which one can plant for small incision cataract surgery rather than phaco. But I decided to do the phaco. This is the point where I have already made an opening in the capsule and proceeding for capsulorhexis after staining the capsule with trypan blue dye. And this was a slightly turgid lens, and hence the rhexis spiraled out. And then it was again a issue because phaco is not safe in such situation. So now this was a point where I had to think whether I should proceed with phaco or should I switch to manual small incision cataract surgery, which might have been safer. But then I decided for phacoemulsification, and using the burst mode, I buried deep into the nucleus and tried to create a primary horizontal chop. And this was not a complete chop, but then the second one gave me an edge, and the surgery could be proceeded. Now, one thing I would advise for those who want to attempt phacoemulsification in such hard cataracts is that usually the inhibition is about burying your phaco tip deep into the nucleus, and that is something which causes formation of a posterior backbone of the nucleus which remains there and keeps the pieces being held together. So the most important thing is to reach deep into the core of the nucleus when burying your phaco tip so as to get a good purchase, and that will be detrimental in providing you the complete separation of the fragments. Another important thing is to create more than 4 pieces so as to have the chunks which are smaller and they don't protrude into the anterior chamber or come close to the corneal endothelium if one wants to avoid post-operative corneal decompensation. And this is the patient at day 1 post-op, where we can appreciate a clear cornea and the visual acuity which was 6 by 12. So that was about performance in terms of phacoemulsification and emulsification power. And this is one feature which I would like all of us to know, especially if you are purchasing a machine, to how to check for surge. And fluidics and surge are a definite issue which will allow you to use a limited amount of vacuum in a machine, and that is why it is important so to know how to check for surge. So set up your machine and then place the handpiece at the level of the patient's eye where you used to have your OT table, and then press the foot switch, and then you start squeezing the aspiration line and releasing it. So when you squeeze it, you cause occlusion, and when you release it, the surge will precipitate if the irrigation and aspiration is not matching. And this can be checked again and again, and you will know that what vacuum is suitable for your machine. So in that scenario, you need to reduce the amount of vacuum, and you should have absence of surge. This should be checked for any given machine. And coming to the future issues, when you have purchased the machine, it should be serviceable. Preferably, a local service support is very, very important so that you have very fast repairs. And usually, Indian manufacturers are able to do so. And not only that, Indian manufacturers like Appasamy can provide you basic level support because they are the manufacturers, so they know the machine inside out. Imported machines, that engineers are trained at the facility where the machine is being built, which is usually outside India, and they give you only partial technological know-how. So their modules can be changed, the repairs are not basic levels. And as a result, the Indian companies will give you a lower cost of repairs. And this will matter once you have purchased a machine. Now coming to the last issue, which may be a controversial issue, the brand value. The brands which are known on worldwide platform and internet, they have some dominance. They may be able to attract patients who are also conscious and browse web before consulting you, but in long term the surgical outcomes will matter. So you have to have a machine which is good rather than which is popular. Bigger companies also launch you in a sense that they will allow you to have some session in conferences which they have sponsored, and this way you will have more visibility among your peers. But then this is something which you can do on the behalf of society also if you have adequate and reasonable content to speak on. So this may not be such a big issue. So in the end, I have summarized what are the important issues, and so I would suggest choose wisely and have your dream phaco machine. Thank you.